Fake HOA enforcers tried to disarm me. My badge shut the whole block down. I wasn't in uniform that day, just jeans, boots, and a black tee that clung to me in the late July heat. My sidearm was holstered, like always visible, legal, and worn with the kind of care you earn after 27 years in law enforcement. I just bought a small colonial home in Brookhaven Meadows, retired early from the force in Atlanta, and 3 months into my new role as county police chief here in Montgomery County. My name's Samuel Pierce, but around here, I guess I'm still the new guy. Or, depending who you ask, the black guy with a gun. It was my second Saturday in town. I'd stepped out to walk Duke, my chocolate lab, around the park 3 blocks down. It's funny how quiet racism doesn't whisper it watches. It waits, and it chooses its moments like wolves choose the weakest in the herd. That's when they rolled up in their golf cart. 3 of them, 2 men, 1 woman, all in fake tactical gear, stitched with patches reading HOA Safety Patrol. One wore mirrored sunglasses and held a walkie like it was a loaded gun. The clipboard wielder Karen, as I'd later learn, spoke first. "You can't carry that here," she snapped, eyes glued to my hip. "This is a family neighborhood." I stopped. Calm. "It's an open carry state." She leaned forward. "Not under our rules." Duke growled low. "Smart dog." Before I could reply, the man with the zip ties stepped off the cart. "You'll need to disarm. We're detaining you until real law enforcement arrives." That was when I laughed. A single, sharp exhale that wasn't funny at all. "You're making a mistake," I said. "Are we Karen challenged? You don't look like you belong here." And there it was. Not about the gun. Not really. It never is. I pulled my wallet, flipped open the badge. Sheriff. Shiny. Unmistakable. They froze like statues struck by lightning. The man with the zip ties stepped back so fast he tripped over the curb and smacked into their golf cart, sending it careening into a neighbor's mailbox. It snapped off at the base, sparking wires and busted plastic. "Care to explain," I asked, "why you're impersonating officers and trying to detain a sitting sheriff?" What followed was chaos. Neighbors came pouring out, filming, whispering. Karen tried to backpedal, waving her clipboard. "It's just protocol," she muttered. "We had complaints. You fit a description." "Let me guess," I said. "Black. Male." Confident Karen's face flushed crimson, her tongue tangled. A young woman from across the street yelled, "He's the new police chief. Idiots!" Her voice lit the fire. The crowd erupted, not in my defense. Not yet, but in confusion. Someone shouted. "Who gave them the authority?" Someone else added. "This isn't the first time they've harassed people." Turns out, Brookhaven Meadows hadn't had a real HOA in 3 years. The old board dissolved after a lawsuit, but Karen and her crew had printed badges, created fake bylaws, and patrolled like they were a suburban SWAT team. They'd fined a war widow for having a flag too big, threatened to tow a disabled vet's van, even told a teenage girl she'd be reported for selling lemonade without a permit. But this time, they picked the wrong man. I filed formal charges the next morning, impersonating law enforcement, unlawful detainment, harassment, and destruction of private property. But it didn't stop there. I opened an investigation. The deeper we dug, the darker it got. Karen had been collecting HOA dues in cash, over $38,000 unaccounted for. Her so-called patrol team, 2 men with expired security licenses and 1 who had an assault charge expunged in 2019. They operated from a makeshift shed behind her house filled with fake uniforms, traffic cones, and a whiteboard labeled enforcement targets. Names were on that list. My name, my neighbor Alicia, the Hernandez family with the kids who play soccer in the cul-de-sac, mostly minorities. They weren't patrolling for safety. They were gatekeeping their own twisted version of who belonged. Word spread. Local news showed up, then regional. One headline read, "Fake HOA Patrol tries to arrest sheriff, ends up under investigation." Public pressure exploded. Karen tried to deny everything, claimed she was just doing what the neighborhood needed. Her house got egged the night before her court date. By the time she walked into the courtroom, her lawyer looked ready to cry. We had video, testimonies, forensic evidence from the fake patrol shed. She got 5 years probation, community service, and a civil suit from over a dozen residents. We didn't stop there. I worked with the city council to launch True Brookhaven, a community-led program that replaced fake patrols with real public safety liaisons, licensed, trained, diverse. We educated residents on legal rights, racial profiling, and home rule charters. Karen's arrest triggered statewide discussion on HOA overreach. The street where she stopped me, it now has a mural, not of me, of Duke, and beside it, these words: belonging doesn't need permission. I tell this story not because I want applause, but because silence lets these things happen again. Next time someone pulls a clipboard on you, don't just show them your badge. Show them the truth, and let the world watch what happens next. Dufour, the Nundery,